Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 33.9k subscribers. Can we get to 34k by the end of the month? Please like this video down below and subscribe to the channel before we get started. But today we have to talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been up in the polls lately in the general election. I've been talking about him potentially falling, potentially cratering to the expert panelists' own demise of failure of predictions. But that's beside the point. However, Joe Biden actually could start to falter based on new allegations that have surfaced and corroboration. A lot of people have heard about Tara Reade accuse Joe Biden of sexual assault. And initially, I actually defended Joe Biden. One of the rare instances that I defended Joe Biden, saying this happens to a lot of different people, lots of powerful people, lots of politicians. They're just accusations. We have to basically say innocent until proven guilty, because somebody can come out and say, oh, 50 years ago you did this, 50 years ago you did that. The Me Too movement was great at exposing some people like Al Franken, Harvey Weinstein, many other people. But at the same time, many of these allegations need to be taken with a grain of salt, especially just due to how convenient they are that this woman has waited until Joe Biden is running for president to come out and say she was sexually assaulted by Joe Biden. However, unlike many of Trump's accusers or Brett Kavanaugh's accusers, all of that kind of stuff, she's actually found a way to corroborate her story. Her mother called in to Larry King Live saying that her daughter worked for a senator, but she wanted her name and Biden's name anonymous based on the respective power, saying that there was a lot of sexual harassment, very inappropriate stuff going on. And when you think about Joe Biden and you look at Joe Biden, you've all seen the videos. I don't have to put them up here. For you guys to know and understand that Biden's kind of a creepy dude. I mean, he hugs people, he grabs kids. He grabs kids like by the crotch, by their breasts. I don't know if it's all intentional, but it's very, very, very creepy. So again, I really wouldn't put it past me that this actually happened based on that fact alone. However, this new evidence basically shows at a very minimum, Biden was inappropriately touching this woman. There really was no reason for her to make it up back then. Biden already ran for president, but he only ran for president once. He got walloped. It wasn't really a factor. He then didn't run again for president until 2008, and then he did run this time around in 2020. But he wasn't really a household name. Again, Senator of Delaware, guys, that's not really a very prestigious position to hold. But it's so hilarious to see the left who just freaked out about the accusations levied against Trump, against Kavanaugh, and against Roy Moore, although there's a lot more evidence that Moore was guilty. All these same people that said believe all women for their political benefit, a lot of them are now silent. You do have a subset of Bernie supporters that are saying hashtag I believe Tara, but you have a lot of the establishment shills, the neoliberal people like CNN, they're covering this up. It only aired on CNN like once today, and it was like a 5-minute story at some like 5 o'clock hour that really nobody was watching because it's a Saturday. So at the same time, it's like you watch this go down and you see the double standard highlighted. Again, they did a lot back in the day with Bill Clinton. They did a lot to cover up for Bill Clinton. I'm not talking about the Monica Lewinsky scandal. I'm talking about the other sexual misconduct allegations that were levied against Clinton back when he was governor of Arkansas. So the media plays favorites, and they're playing favorites again. And you look at this, and you have a lot of people saying, oh, the Democrats could potentially sit there and actually replace Biden because of this. This is an interesting theory. A lot of people have floated around the names Gavin Newsom, Andrew Cuomo, but it's just a very slim chance it would happen. I still think that if it does happen, it very well could be Hillary Clinton, and maybe it could happen. Maybe you could see the DNC say, hey, Biden, hey, Joe, step aside, because just between us, everybody knows that Biden is not going to be capable of actually running for president. The Democrats actually put a nobody on the ticket because he will not have any say in what happens in his administration. It's going to be compromised. It's going to be controlled by a small, wealthy interest group of elites, just like the Obama administration, except unlike Obama, Biden won't actually have a say really in anything because he'll just have to cede his power to the rest of his cabinet. And we know how that's going to play out. Very, very weak, very old, borderline senile man being taken over, being taken hostage almost, and being forced to run for president for their control. So we'll see if the DNC wants to do anything about it, but if they do, it would obviously be a very, very big gamble. You talk about people floating the names of Cuomo, as I said, and Hillary even. So we'll really have to see when it's all said and done. Probably not going to happen. I'd only give it a 10 to a 15% chance that they actually make Biden step down. It's kind of funny because Hillary in the betting odds and predicted her stock actually went up a couple of percentage points today. So it's always funny. It's always funny the betting odds people are always putting money on Hillary. It's not any of the other Dems. I know Cuomo rose a couple points, but Hillary in second place, even when Bernie was running against Biden. Hillary was like by far in second place when Bernie dropped out, which is hilarious. And honestly, I really just wonder how this would have worked out if the accusation came before Bernie dropped out. How would this have impacted Super Tuesday? Especially if, you still had Klobuchar in there, it would have been a very, very different situation. So it's very interesting to see that all unfold after the nomination is basically locked up for Biden. And if you're a Bernie fan or if you're Bernie Sanders yourself, you just have to be furious at the fact that this didn't come out sooner than later. It's like they'll do anything to sweep everything under the rug, but somebody found the tape. Somebody found the video. It's really all that matters. And we love to talk about the electoral implications of all of this. And you look at the polls that have Biden relatively up, mostly among white women by a few percentage points in most of the polls. It's a demographic Trump narrowly won. However, the polls did show Trump losing the demographic for the most part leading up to the election. And there's a little speculation if he actually won them because you do have exit poll errors. Again, Edison failed on the college vote miserably in 2016. Trump probably lost college-educated whites by roughly around, 5 to 10 percentage points. But the polls always don't work. They don't weight everything properly. Sometimes they don't weight by education. If they do weight by education, some polls have differing measures. Do they consider some college as a college education? Do they consider an associate's degree as a college education? That's beside the point. The problem is white women and women in general. Biden will probably, at the end of the day, end up struggling. People talk about Trump, and they levy all these accusations against Brett Kavanaugh, and the woman couldn't remember anything. The woman says, 1 beer. And the only thing they could find is she talked to a therapist, said she got sexually assaulted, didn't really say who it was to or something like that. But at the end of the day, there was really nothing on her. Trump, not really anything necessarily that groundbreaking on the guy in terms of accusations. Not many people really could corroborate their allegations. In fact, leading up to the election, you had many, many family members come out against them saying it didn't happen or they were actually even eyewitnesses. And some of the women were in close coordinations to the Clinton campaign. So you never know. But it's really going to be an interesting thing to see how this plays out. You talk about the white women vote. Potentially, more votes could shift away from Biden. You might see a gain in the Howie Hawkins vote. You might see a gain in people that are just going to abstain or potentially write in Bernie Sanders. But the main focus of this is that the Democrat Party, they're such hypocrites. They accuse Donald Trump of sexual misconduct. They're not willing to blame Biden when he has similar accusations, despite Biden actually having a visual past out in the open, basically, of doing really, really weird and creepy stuff. It's just crazy that the hypocrisy exists. And yes, you do have some people on the right that are going to sit back and say, I'm not going to believe any of these women, but I'm going to believe the people that are going to accuse the Democrats. That's not the way to go either. I don't like believing accusers without definitive evidence. She very, very well could still be lying or exaggerating part of the story, but the tape shows what the tape shows, and it seems like at a very minimum, she was being sexually harassed by Joe Biden at the time and wasn't really willing to come forward. So we'll really have to see what the implications of this. The media is not talking about this. And you do have the virus that's definitely being the main cornerstone of what the media is covering right now. So we'll really just have to see. But again, I believe evidence first. And this is a little piece of evidence. This is something that actually gives me a glimpse into this and say, hey, wait a minute. She could actually be telling the truth. And if she is telling the truth, if you can basically convince me on this issue, Biden basically could end up losing a small but noticeable chunk of voters, particularly in the suburbs. And it's really just going to ramp up. This could be the beginning of the end for Biden. The debates, I think, will really be the end. I think he's going to vastly underperform expectations. He's not really smarter than what he was back in 2012, where he had a good stalemate with Paul Ryan, and he was actually somewhat intelligible. Now, you look at the debates that have happened this time, the Democrats were going to go easy on him. Biden really wasn't hurt by very many of the debates, although his His polls did go down initially after the first debate where he failed miserably because Kamala actually went after him and attacked him. When Bloomberg jumped in the race, they were all going after Bloomberg. They were attacking Bloomberg in the debates before Super Tuesday. So Biden basically could just sit back and ride the wave and just go from there. Trump is not like that. Donald Trump is a fierce debater. He's not necessarily the best debater, but he's effective. He was effective against Ted Cruz. He was effective against Rubio. Yes, a lot of the expert polls did show that he did lose the debates to Hillary, but at the end of the day, in the exit polling, what we saw from that was people that said that the debate was the most determining factor. It was a lot more even than what the polls initially showed. So at the end of the day, I think it really does matter in the debates. Trump is a very effective debater. He will attack Biden, and Biden will not necessarily know how to respond. They can keep the guy quiet, they could shelter him, but the whole world's going to be watching, and we'll really just have to see. That's why I really don't trust a whole lot of the polling before the conventions, and after the conventions we can look into it. But the polling really starts to matter after the debates, after actually the first debate or even the commander-in-chief forum. So will this affect Biden? We'll just have to see. In the short term, it's just very interesting to see somebody actually corroborate their allegations, and this actually could be a factor. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. Join the Discord and subreddit. Donate to the Patreon and subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.